Orthodox actually have some type of tradition that they have some of the songs of the Beis Hamikdash. All right, we have to talk about it, and we know the Baal Shem. There was many stories of many tzaddikim, many rabbis that used to go into the fields and collect music. That they used to feel that this is actually the music that they would collect is the music from the times of the Beis Hamikdash. They were collected the songs of the Beis Hamikdash.
Do we have a Masorah of any of the Nigunim actually that the Baal Shem Tov was played there? From the
so the famous one is Birchas Kohanim. That the tradition, the shame of the Maral, ay, that nigun, the Maral, as I state, there's a Messiah from the Maral, it's a nigun that they sang the Beis Hamikdash. So another shaila that was brought up, another question that was brought up, just to say a few words and then we'll open it up. But it's just maybe Kedai, it's worth us repeating something. That we talk about creation, we say that the world is created through dibur, through speech. And then there's a question is Hashem, the creator, singing creation into being or speaking creation into being? And there's a beautiful quote from the Baal HaRekeach that he brings down from the Siddur, that he writes that the 10 dibras, the 10 utterances, the 10 commandments that were revealed on Mount Sinai, that these 10 commandments were actually 10 nigunim, 10 songs that were sang, and Hashem sang the Aseres HaDibros, and David HaMelech heard these Aseres HaDibros, the song of the creation, of Revelation, and therefore David HaMelech's name is written sometimes with the extra yud in Divrei Yomim, that corresponds to the 10, and he revealed it through the 10 ways, 10 composers of the Sefer HaTehillim. So I was thinking like this, that there's creation occurs on multiple levels. So it's brought down in many svarim, miusad on the teachings of the Arizal, that there's the imrois and there's the dibrois, that creation has the 10 utterances of creation, asar b'maris nivra olam, 10 utterances that Hashem created the world. And then there's a Maimer Echad, which Maimer Echad is the Bereshis is Maimer Echad, just the beginning of creation is the first Maimer. And they, in turn, correspond or are the outer reflection of the Aseres HaDibros. The Aseres HaDibros, the 10 Commandments, is the inner quality that then becomes revealed in creation. So the revelation of Sinai is the inner dimension of reality that becomes externalized or became externalized in the creation of Asar Mamaris. So if the Aseres HaDibros were actually sung, so it means like this, that really, there's a pasuk in Tehillim in Perek Mem and Perek Nun. The pasuk says, "Keil Elikim Hashem Dibar V'Yikra Aretz." Keil represents the name of Chesed. Keil Chesed Kol Hayom, one name of Hashem. Elokim is constriction. Hashem is already the expansion. Dibar, 3 names of Hashem. Keil Elikim Hashem Dibar, spoke, and Vayikra Aretz, and he called creation. He called the earth. That means that the process of creation starts off with a divine desire, love, a chesed, an expression of love, a desire. Then there's a contraction, there's a tzimtzum of that love in order to create. And then there's a revealing through the process of creation until it actually becomes a created reality. So it means that the depth of creation, the inner depth of the Asar Mamoris, of the utterances, is actually the Dibros. So the inner depth of the creative power is the song. And it's said before, for example, let's say, if you tell your child, if you have a child or someone that you really love, and you tell them, okay, you have to do this. Or let's say you have a child, and you tell them you have to go to sleep. So the child takes this as an absolute law, and the father is being very strict. The father is saying, or the mother is saying, you have to go to sleep now. But the reason why you're telling the child to go to sleep now is really because you love the child. So the outer expression of what you express in the words, go to sleep now, sounds like a command. Sounds like an absolute reality. This is what it is, and it's not poetry, it's prose. This is what has to be done. But the inner command of those words is really the song, is the poetry, is the love that's brought out through those words. So the external reality of creation, when Hashem's creating the world, Masar Mamaras. Hashem is setting up the world, creating the laws of physics, creating the properties of the universe. The properties of the universe is basically the outer expression of Hashem's will. This is what actually, and this is in order to function. This is what happens. If you put your hand in a fire, you burn. That seems like the Mamaras. That seems like a dibur. It's a very clear command. This is what has to be done. But the depth of every Mamaras is actually a song. So Hashem is singing the world into being through the Aseres HaDibros, but then eventually becomes revealed in the absoluteness of creation and the strict laws of nature, and it seems to be as an appearance of just, this is the way it has to be done. So in other words, does Hashem sing the world in creation? Of course Hashem sings the world in creation. It's a kel Elokim Havaya Dibur. The root of all creation is an act of love. Hashem desires to be created. There's a creation, and Hashem can bestow love upon His creation. So the root of everything is actually an act of love, an act of poetry, where there's room for forgiveness and for messing up and for starting over again. But when the actual creation is being created, it's created through the words of absolute. Vayam Hashem Yihor. Hashem says, "Let there be light," and there is light. There's no conversation. You're the father. You say, "I need you to go to sleep." You must go to sleep because I know this is the best thing that is for you to do, is to go to sleep. Although, of course, if you understand the depth of what I'm saying, you understand that I'm actually singing a song to you, a love song, to make sure that you sleep well and you feel comfortable and you have a good life. And this is the same thing also we have to think about creation, that the revelation of Sinai is the song, is the poetry, and that's why the Torah is going to be called a Shira, which we're going to learn, God willing, tomorrow. It's the inner poetry of life. So this is one thing that was talked about a little bit, and I think, Jeremy, we should really open it up a little bit, because people take a few minutes for people to actually say ideas that they learned or ask questions, etc.
I have a question, if I may.
First, I'm just gonna turn off the live stream on Facebook.
Okay, whatever, but people can start asking.